Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our, I believe it's fourth Decentraland All Hands community session. These sessions have been designed to provide a more comprehensive and give more insight and foster deeper connections and synergy between the foundation and the community. This session is broken up into three segments, starting with product updates, foundation updates, and closing up with the AMAs. If you have not gotten a chance to submit your questions, you can still do so in our Slido. I will paste a link here in a second. And for you guys in the chat, you're also welcome to submit your questions throughout the event. Also, if everyone could please keep the questions in Slido appropriate to the conversation, that would be wonderful. And if somebody could post that link here, actually, hold on a second. Let me see if I can just drop it in right now. Here. So it's in the right there for you guys. And just a reminder that the cadence of these sessions are every 7 weeks. And if you have any questions in the meantime, there is support via chat, email, Canny, and the RFIs. For details, you can check. I'm going to paste a past Twitter link that we did that explains all of this for you guys. Let me paste it for you guys in case you want to dive into that as well. And yeah, with that, I will pass it on. I believe either Yemel or Product Update Kim or whoever is next. Go for it.
Yeah. Nico, do you want to do the screen share or do you want me to?
Yes, of course. Give me just a second.
Okay. And then we are going to start today with some general updates. So thank you all for joining. We're going to have Yamel kick us off with our manifesto for the year. So I know Nico's just getting the slides set up.
Thank you, Nico, for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, welcome everyone to this number 4 meeting. So as general updates, I want to talk briefly about our manifesto for this year. It has been published in the Decentraland blog. This is the Decentraland Foundation main goals for the year. We will be tackling these 4. Number 1, I think this is the biggest goal that we have, is to release a new desktop explorer or client. The main goal of this is to be more performant and immersive. We have been working on this for a while now. In this previous cycle, we put a lot of effort and we got a lot of progress on that. So yeah, I think in the manifesto, in the blog post, there is a more detailed explanation on what we expect on a more performant and immersive world. But basically, it's about not only being able to render the creations of our users, but also being able to see in the horizon, to see the creations far away, to have a better environment, and the empty parcels to have be more vivid in that regard. And also the other important part is the architecture of this client should be future proof. We are developing, having in mind other targeting platforms such as mobile and VR, that with the current architecture that we have from the Explorer, it's really hard to make those ports to another platforms. So desktop client is the first target, and then we will decide on which one will be the next one. Could be web as well, could be mobile, could be VR, but ensuring that we have a performant desktop version and a good pipeline for developing content is the first priority. But having the architecture in mind to be able to expand to another platforms easily later on. So that's goal number 1. Second goal is to remove the entry barriers for new users. And we want to do this by diversifying the payment methods. We have been including cross-chain payments, so we can support the different kind of tokens and chains. We also have been implementing on ramps to use debit cards, credit cards to purchase the different digital assets that the Decentraland ecosystem offers. Also expanding language support and removing these like knowledge barriers, such as, for example, some crypto slang, or having the need of having a wallet in order to interact fully in Decentraland. That's something that I think with social login we have been addressing, that still having all the benefits of using a wallet behind the scenes and having blockchain technology there. However, removing the need for the user to install a different app in order to log in and be a first-class citizens in Decentraland. So that's goal number 2. Goal number 3 is invest in the creation of engaging content that is promoting these community build events and like wellness, Art Week, and we will continue expanding on the agenda later on in this presentation, but that's a key part. We also want to invest in the production of high quality games that can engage users for longer periods of time. And also, I think a big part for the second half of the year is the introduction of some core mechanics and incentives to explore, Decentraland, and socialize that are well aligned with the user-generated content that we have. That means that there is a main narrative, a main mechanic that incentivizes and forces the user to come back and generates a sense of progress in the level of involvement of the user. So that's about the content. And finally, but not less important, is supporting the community growth. Community is a huge part of Decentraland, can say it's the soul of Decentraland. And we want to support that growth by fostering in real life encounters through an event we're organizing, other events that are being organized by our ambassador program that is a joint collaboration with the DAO. Also, we will be attending industry conferences just like the GDC and other conferences in the space of blockchain and tech innovation. And well, finally, marketing and user acquisitions are another important part of keep growing the community. Marketing is something that we do a lot during the whole year. User acquisition is something that we want to go big on the second half of the year once we have a desktop client ready. So those are the main goals. I encourage you to read the manifesto for more detail. Regarding how to do it, we are happy with the development cycles of 8 weeks. We have been doing for, I think we are in cycle number 5, starting next Monday. And after the cycle ends, we will continue hosting these meetings. And I think that's the way we'll continue rolling. Thank you so much for your attention. And now I pass the mic to you, Kim, so you can talk about the calendar.
Thanks, Yamel. So yeah, as Yamel mentioned, we have a few key events coming up throughout the year. So, oh, just realized my camera wasn't on. Hi, everyone. So we just finished Wellness Week. I'll get to a quick little recap of that soon. Next up is Art Week. So thank you for everyone that participated in those open calls. The selection will be announced on February 5th. So coming up early next week. And Art Week will be a big event this year with a joint between Mesh Fair happening within Art Week. So it'll be one space where you can participate in both of them, which will be really exciting. And then after that, we have the DCL Summit, which I know many of you have heard about. We will cover that in the next slide. Gaming will be the next in-world event focus. And I know we've heard a lot about having more games in Decentraland. We agree, and we're really excited about this. So more to come on that in the future, but we will have an open call for that as well. So if you want to start thinking about some ideas. Next up will be fashion, which is moved to September. That'll align with the in real life fashion weeks that are going on in the fall and will allow us to wait as well for the new client, which is exciting to be able to see how many people we can have together enjoying that. And then music, of course, in November. Another update that Yamel mentioned is the foundation is going to have a booth this year at the Game Developers Conference known as GDC in March in San Francisco. So if anyone will be attending, let us know. We'd love to say hi. but we're going to be there to showcase really what's possible in Decentraland and to meet some new builders. Additionally, we will share any other in real life events or conferences once they are confirmed and booked, but we are planning to focus in a few key areas. That would be gaming, tech and innovation, and Web3. And then lastly on this, in regards to events, is our ambassadors are up and running. So I see some of them here. Thank you all for all that you're doing behind the scenes to have some events ready in your geographies. We have 14 different locations that are represented. Canessa is leading that charge, so thank you, Canessa. So expect to see more regional events popping up soon. Next is the Community Summit. So that is happening May 22nd through 24th. Most of you are all familiar at this point. The high-level agenda, day one, will be keynotes and product updates, so presentations from mostly the foundation. Day two will be community workshops, so broken up into small groups. And then day three will be a joint build-a-thon. More details to come as we get closer in Q2 about which portions will be accessible to those not on site, what's going to be recorded, and how to access everything. So that will all be coming as more details are finalized. Also, based on some of the feedback and continuing to experiment, we are going to be opening up a few tickets for sale for those that may want to join but haven't yet had the opportunity. We know people reached out to us saying they missed the deadline, or they have a friend that they think could benefit and they could be a new builder in Decentraland, whatever that may be. So pricing and logistical details to come in late February, but wanted to let everyone know that there will be a few tickets that are opening up for sale. The others that have confirmed, those costs are covered in regards to the hotel accommodations, on-site activities. As a reminder, if you have not responded yet, the deadline is today, January 31st. Just be sure to check your spam email. We've heard it's went to spam for some people, but it'll be an official email from dclsummit@decentraland.org. If you have any questions about the summit, you can also email that address as well. Wellness recap. So thank you everyone for participating. And we just wanted to share some quick highlights of some of the tweets we saw. There were so many beautiful tweets, everyone. So thank you so much for participating. I know we also did a quick contest and sent out the winners. There were 10 community winners that all received some mana for sharing what they were grateful for during the event. So thank you, everyone. It was a new event, a good opportunity to see what's possible in Decentraland if we all slow down a little bit. And while there were some parties, I know there were so many beautiful moments like the hug, meditation, yoga, and just a lot of slowing down, breath work activations, which was, I feel like, mostly newer scenes and some new builders as well. So if you haven't seen all of the builds, they will be up for about 3 months, I believe. So you can go in and kind of explore the Wellness Plaza. And if you ever need a little break during your day, that's a great spot to just like walk around and take in all the Zen. And I believe that's it, Nico. Oh, last thing, just a note from the HR team. I posted this in the Discords as well, but we are hiring at the foundation. So there is an analytics engineer position and a senior product designer. The openings are listed on the Decentraland lever, and any future jobs will be posted there as well. There is an external referral bonus for roles here. So if you refer someone and they get hired on their 3-month anniversary, you will get $1,000 USD payable in mana. The way to refer is you have to send an email to people@decentraland.org with the role title and the name of the candidate, and then have them apply. So though, if you know anyone, that's a great way to bring some more amazing builders to Decentraland. And I believe that's my last one, Nico. So I will pass it over to you.
Yes, thank you, Kim. Hello, everyone. Hope you had a great day. So let's start with some product updates. As usual, I will be sharing the things that we did on the past cycle, on the past 2 months of development, and also sharing some alpha of the things that are coming up on the upcoming cycle that is starting next Monday. This is cycle number 5. But before that, I wanted to talk about briefly about transparency and collaboration. In the past days or weeks, we found that there were some opportunities that we could take in order to foster more transparency and collaboration between the Central Foundation, the DAO, and all the people in the community. And even though we've been doing a lot of efforts for the past years, there were all other things that we were able to do, and hopefully this helps be more transparent and foster collaboration between all of us here. So in terms of transparency, we released a few weeks ago a public board where you can check all the initiatives that we've been doing since we started with this cadence and this methodology of shape up that helps us drive product development. There you have visibility of all the past cycles since the beginning, and also the current cycle if you want to see all the things that I'm going to mention today. So there's no need to be synchronically at this call to know what the Central Foundation is building right now. So you can just go ahead and check this link and see for yourself. It's linked right there. Then in terms of collaboration, we've been talking about Canary for a long time now. And what we're going to do, I mean, we've been doing this a little bit, but we're going to do this in a more formal way. And we are going to merge Canary with the ShapeUp framework. So as you already know, this consists of 8-week development cycles. And during that week, at the same time that the developers and designers are building the products, some people in the foundation as well, we are shaping. This means like scoping or defining all the things that we want to do on the upcoming cycle. And then we take all those initiatives and prioritize them depending on the product strategy that we have that I'm going to share in a minute. So what we are going to do is start shaping all the community requests that we have in Canary. So I encourage you to visit the Canary website, and share your feedback and your requests right there. We're going to check them out every cycle, so expect that cadence as well for answers and to see those things coming up to life in the cycles. There are a few things that we've done in the past cycle that we're going to do in the next one that we've taken ideas from Canary already. So this is already rolling, but this is becoming a more formal part of the process. And we've been doing this in a 8-week basis as well as all the other things that we do. So yeah, so hopefully this is best for everyone. Now, yes, without further ado, let me share some of the things that we've been doing in the past cycle. All of this is already shipped, or if it's not shipped already, it's been shipped like between today, tomorrow, and early next week. So let's see the details. But first, this is what I was talking before, like how we prioritize and the things that we take into consideration for the prioritization. So as I said the last meeting, a big portion of the team is focusing developing the new desktop client to fix the performance issue, revamping the gameplay and graphics, and everything that is described in the manifesto. We've been also polishing the current experience, fixing technical design issues that we have in order to have a better platform. And also in terms of onboarding, trying to make it easier for new users, more smooth login process, and also for Web2 users as well, with the last introduction of the social login. So yeah, I will be presenting this as well every cycle. If it changes or not, I will be mentioning as well. So let's start into the details and what the things we did to polish the current experience.
Hey everyone, Nico here. So I'm gonna talk about a bunch of features that we've been releasing lately. By the way, I don't know who has ability to give me permissions to control the slides, but would be great to have that directly. Otherwise, play the video, please. So this first item is about making it possible for smart items to directly be multiplayer In previous cycles, we've been making it possible to have easy ways to have multiplayer, accessible for creators. And now we've just added that into what you can do with smart items. So out of the box, they already work, and any actions with them are visible by all players. Now that is something that you can also customize in many ways. You can turn that off if you want. If you want to have, say, escape room type game and you want every player to figure that out on their own, you can also do that. But by default, they just work and are shared with everyone. So next slide, please. So the next one is a bunch of improvements that we've been doing with the editor. There's a number of quality of life improvements that really help make it feel a lot more solid and robust as a tool. So yes, first one has to do with search. So now you can search for items. You can search either through all items or in just one category. And another nice thing is that you can do Control-C and Control-V to copy things. It was previously possible to copy things, but it was kind of hidden in the menus. Now it's very obvious how to do it. Another nice thing is that you can hold Control and multi-select multiple items, and you can copy them, move them, rotate them all together. You can even delete them and duplicate them as a group. Another nice thing is that you can delete things with the delete key, which is also something that was previously hidden. The thing is that now, notice how it's sometimes hard to select the right item. Sometimes when you select the item in the back, with this you can lock an item so that you can no longer accidentally move it. In this case, we locked the grass on the floor, and that's a typical thing that can be very annoying. Similarly, you can also hide an item. Here, this building is getting in the way, so you can click the eye icon and hide it, and now we can easily work with things inside this building without getting visually obstructed. And this hides it only in the editor. It doesn't hide it for players. And when you're done, you can show it again and see the whole picture again. So yeah, those are, you can also press spacebar and directly go back to a default camera position. This is useful if you get lost and you want to go back. Another very nice thing is that with this plus icon up there, you can add components to any item. So here we have a grill, which is not smart. We had just added an audio source component, and we're adding a sizzle.mp3 file to make it play a sizzling sound. And we can just that easily make a non-smart item into something that has some level of interactivity, or at least some sound to it. So there are a couple of other nice things coming, but this is already live in the editor, both web and desktop, so you can already start enjoying these things. Next slide, please. So this one is something that comes from a community request, but it's something that is, a very obvious thing that's always been missing, which is that it's always been hard to find content in Decentraland. Even though there is, a search capability and there are categories and all these things, it's hard to, to provide this data for content creators. And with this, we make it easy. So please play the video. Thank you. So this is what it looks like when you have to set up the metadata. You have to edit a JSON file, which is not the friendliest way. So now if you click this pencil icon, you now have this menu where you can have all of the same fields, but it's a nice menu. You can set the age rating, add a thumbnail, you can add categories, up to 3 categories per scene. You can also add tags. So tags are open-ended. Categories are a list of limited options. And yeah, with this, you can make your scene a lot more searchable because you can have any kind of niche category you want. You can also go to the Layout tab and add parcels to the scene. So here, these parcels are being added. You maybe don't see them because they're right behind the building, but now you'll see them there. So there, we added just 2 more parcels to the scene, and if you delete them, they're gone. In the third tab, you have some settings to enable and disable voice chat or enable and disable portal experiences. And you can also set the spawn points. I'm sure you've all seen that in crowded scenes, sometimes you have all players just spawning in the same spot and becoming this crazy mesh of players. With this, you can actually set different spawn points, multiple of them, and even add a random offset so that they don't appear in the same spot, they appear in a region. So yeah, that makes these things feel a lot more polished. This also, by the way, is already live in the desktop and will very soon be live in the web editor as well. So this next one is a little bit more technical, but it's a very key building block for building more cooler multiplayer experiences. So the idea is that up until now, every Decentraland scene has only information about your player, the player running this in their machine, and not about other players who are there in the scene. There were workarounds for making this information available using a server, like as a third party, but it's hard to set that up. With this now, every single player who is in the scene is recognized by the scene as an entity, and each one of these entities has a transform, so that you can know their position and rotation. And they also have a number of new components which store information about the player ID, the player wearables that they have on at that time, their emotes that they're playing at that time. So through all of this, you can have a pretty complete understanding of who's where in the scene and what they're doing and what they're wearing, and that can be used in all kinds of like robust game mechanics. And we added also a bunch of helpers for this to make this information more easily available to code. But one thing I wanted to mention is that like a very clever thing that one of the devs working on this came up with was having this on-change function. And we figured out that why not add this to everything? So now every single component in the Decentraland has an on-change property, and you can subscribe to whenever this component changes and react to that in whatever way you want. That's actually a very powerful and very elegant way to basically do anything. And this is not just limited to the player items, but to everything: video players, materials, colliders, whatever you want. So next one, please. So this is a beautiful thing that Pense has been working on. With the UIs in general in the Decentraland, we've had pretty plain and basic UIs in general. There haven't been a lot of scenes that really exploit the potential of this. And this was, a challenge to make something look really great, really polished, that can be easily reusable by others. So please hit play. And here we'll see a bunch of really nice animations in the UI. So here we have something that pops up. Each one of these boxes does a different thing. Here we have a couple of buttons, and when you click on the button, you have an animation. And when you click on the wrong button, it shakes. I hope that the frame rate is good for you and that you can see the smooth movement here. Here you have a card that you can flip around. It's a nice little typical thing for many games. Here you have a sprite. In this other one, you have something a spinner, which is also sprite. But here you have something that spins, and you can really add any image, a single image, and make it spin like this. And this counter, what's interesting about it is that it uses custom fonts. Like these numbers are not a default font, but you can upload an image and use that as a font. Here you have a progress bar, and here you have a more complete one that includes sprites of the progress bar, and the progress bar, has these like pulses, and you have a bunch of things that make it a very nice and endorphin-inducing kind of UI. So yeah, this example is already available in the examples page. If you want to leverage any of the things there, it's pretty compartmentalized, so you can copy chunks and pieces freely. So next slide, please. So this one is about making it easier to transfer tokens to other players. So please play the video. So in this video, you see how you can subscribe. You can attach an address to a name so that name becomes associated with that address. And with that, it's a lot easier to transfer a token to that person via a recognizable, nice name, rather than very hard to retain hexadecimal code. So in essence, this is not different from using an alias when transferring money via the bank. You're just using a nice, rememberable shortcut as an alternative. So once the name is registered here in the video, now we go into, and here we can confirm that the address is linked to this name. Now we can go into, to minting some items, and we can mint the item directly to the person holding that name without needing to know the long address.
Let me add something, Nico, here. This also works outside our marketplace and builder, so you can also transfer funds from wallet to a DCL name. So you need to remember the whole address. It's really cool. Anything else to add here, Nico?
No. I think this is the last one.
Yes. So let me share with you a few of the updates that we had regarding the onboarding and make it easier for Web 2 and Web 3 users. So finally, we were able to release the social login, and this included also the new authentication DApp. This is really great because we're using the same DApp in all the platforms. Anyone from outside can also connect to this authentication service and use it. Another cool use case is for the desktop client. Before we introduced this, the only way to connect with your MetaMask wallet to the desktop client was by using the mobile app of MetaMask. Now with this, it opens a web in the browser, and you can use also the browser extension of MetaMask. So that's a really cool use case that's unlocked with this. And for all new players and people from the Web 2 environment, they can come and log in and create their accounts with their Gmail account, with their Twitter account, Discord, and also their Apple ID. And we're going to keep adding more options for Web 2 users to sign in an easy way to Decentraland. Another thing that we introduced in the past cycle is the new navbar with this mega menu with illustrations and titles and descriptions with a much nicer view, and it's also action oriented, so it invites the user to enter these sections and understand what's in there for them. So it's the same menu, more or less the same content is reorganized a little bit. For example, the explore section now contains the events and the places dApps, but it's mostly a redesign. Then we are releasing tomorrow the creators landing. This is a new landing with cool design and also action oriented to let new creators that want to understand what they can do in the Decentraland, like why it's nice to create content here, what are the things that they can do, wearables, emotes, scenes, and the skills that they need in order to do that, links to the documentation. So it's pretty straightforward. Some comments from creators in the community, direct links to the tutorials in our YouTube page, also giving more visibility to the studios because it was kind of hidden. Now it should be way more visible. And of course, the frequent asked questions for someone who's new here, those are always really useful. And also I want to say, stay tuned because now we're going to be releasing this initial version, but this is a live page that will be changing with time, mostly because of the content it has, like the tutorials and the verbatims from the creators. So stay tuned because we're going to open this for anyone who wants to be featured. You're going to be able to apply and appear there in that website. That looks really nice. Another thing that we've been doing in the web realm is the avatar creation flow. So until now, the first time you can meet your avatar and start customizing it, it's in the Explorer, which you need to wait until it loads and all of that. And now it's more straightforward. You can choose a random avatar. It changes between female and male body shapes, and it changes all the base wearables. And you can choose one, set a name, and just create your account right here. And you can do this from any app, and that will already create your profile when you want to go to Explorer and start exploring the Decentraland from the inside. So depending on the website that you are, it redirects you back there to give a complete flow. Already the profile is already created. You can check your profile. You can do like everything as if you were logged with the browser, with the Explorer. And something cool as well is that we integrated this. We moved this flow in the past cycle to a marketplace to buy names with Fiat. to buy names from the marketplace. Now we also added the option to mint them with Fiat, paying with debit or credit cards from Visa and MasterCard. For this, we integrated with a partner called Wearables, and they are processing the payment on the back. And the experience is pretty smooth as well. You can just go into the marketplace, mint a name, and pay with whatever payment method that you want. Once you get the name, you can mint more names for some of you, but you can also start creating your world and start customizing that using the amazing tools that we are adding to the web editor. Another thing that we did in terms of onboarding was some improvements on the NPCs in Genesis Plaza. I don't know if you ever met Simone on top of the clouds in the plaza. The script was not really good. Now it's has more information about the Decentraland. It gives more accurate answers. It actually doesn't take you to places because it doesn't move, but it mentions some of the things randomly or depending on what you're asking, because this has an AI running on the background. It gives way proper answers, and this is going to continue improving, but now looks a lot better. So you can go ahead and check it out and interact with it. It's going to change the answers every time, and you can play with it. And this is something cool also I want to share with some of the features that I just presented. The creator's landing, all the flow to create the avatar in the web, and also the minting flow for names and being able to pay with Fiat. These are all available in mobile. All of these are in the dApps, and we are also making it mobile friendly. So if you or any new user finds these links in Twitter or in using their social media accounts, they can just get there and start onboarding into Decentraland. Take a look at what it is for them with a few taps in their phones. And yeah, start getting the experience right away. You don't really need to be in front of the computer to start. So these are a cool thing. And most of the things that we are doing in the apps are also mobile friendly. So very nice. All right. So far, this is what we've done on the past 2 months. As I said, some of the things are not yet in production. These are going to be released on the upcoming days. So let me share some alpha with you now. The next cycle is starting on Monday. The releases are going to be between the end of February and the end of March. So you can expect this cadence from us. Let's share what we're going to do. But first, let me share with you as well the product strategy that we follow for cycle number 5. It's exactly the same as the one that we've been using for cycle 4. We only did one change. We changed the product strategy pillar from polishing experience to creators tools. We've been doing a lot of polishing so far, but we found out that there's a lot to be done, and adding more creator tools to really unleash the possibilities from all the content creators in the community. So we'll be working in the editor, in the SDK, and many things that were also, some things were some technical depth, but we're going to give better tools to create amazing content. And on top of that, as I was saying at the beginning, we also consider already a lot of the initiatives that were requested in Canary, and some of these already were shaped. We didn't share it yet in the public board. We're going to share them now when the cycle begins. But many of these are going to be already made it to a cycle and are going to be under development for the next 8 weeks. So this is already running. Nico, back to you.
Thank you. So yes, let's dive into a few of the things we'll be starting to work on now. So one of them has to do with simplifying how you configure a smart item. So I don't know if any of you have tried to configure one of the smart items, maybe making a door not openable by clicking it, but maybe you just open it via a button, or making a platform not directly start moving, but rather only move when you pull a lever. That's all very much doable. You don't need code, but you do need to dive into a fairly complicated couple of concepts. And yes, we realized that was maybe asking too much of several simple use cases where you really you shouldn't need to think all that deeply about how to not make a door open when you click on it. So we're going to expose a simplified UI for all of these, a UI that looks very much at the same level of complexity as what we had in the old builder, but we will be able to jump in between the simple view and the advanced view. So if you want to jump into advanced view, you'll have all of the options we have today, but by default, you will see the simplified view where you see only the more common use cases you might have for changing the behavior of smart item. So next slide, please. So this one is a pretty exciting one. So we're thinking about how we can make more engaging games through the builder, and how we can add like more layers of more game-like mechanics. So we decided to start with health, which is a very global kind of thing. I mean, it doesn't just apply to the player's health, it can be applied to an enemy's health, or even to something that can be broken. So we'll be creating this health component, which can be attached to any of these things. And there will be ways to reduce health, to make damage to these things, or to increase health by taking potions or whatever makes sense in that context. So this is like kind of a first approach into trying to make more like systemic gains. So the idea is that if this works well, we can also have things like score, like fatigue, maybe level of trust that an NPC can have on you. All of these things can be treated in a similar way, where you have a single thing that can be affected by many items. And this can also have very interesting mechanics where simply by having an explosion reduce health, you can reduce health from a player, but also you can reduce health from a wall that is also affected by that explosion. And yeah, we're going to dive into how much we can do with this throughout these weeks. Next slide, please. So then we also have a few bugs and issues that we want to fix. One has to do with having more responsive text size. So in these couple of screenshots, you see the same UI as seen on different screens. So one of these screens has more resolution than the other, and the creator of the scene made it so that the squares and all of the enclosing of the text is proportional to the screen size, but there is no way to make the text proportional to the screen size, or at least not directly. You can have very manual things, but it's not friendly at all. So the idea is to expose helpers similar to how we have in CSS, where you can make the text size proportional to the scene size, rather than just, so in case you don't know, like the text size is always in pixels. If you set the text size as in 14, that relates to a number of pixels, which doesn't look the same in different sizes of screens. The other issue we want to fix has to do with teleporting players within a world. So right now you can move a player inside a scene when you're in Genesis Plaza, but you can't when you're in a world. And that by itself is a pretty big problem, but it also limits something I was just talking about before, the health smart items. One common use case is to maybe when a player runs out of health, you want to teleport them back to the starting position. And with this, you can't really do that mechanic. So yeah, this was another of the blockers that we wanted to address. Next one, please. So sound has always been quite an Achilles heel in our SDK. We've had pretty poor tools for dealing with sound. So the idea is to make it a lot more, customizable. So one problem we have, for example, is that you can't retrigger a sound that is already playing. If you try to, play something that was already playing, like nothing happens because it was already playing. And sometimes you want to go back to the start and replay a sound, especially maybe if you have a sound effect that has like a tail of silence at the end. Maybe we're going to play that sound effect again, and you'll just keep playing that tail of silence. Maybe you also want to start the sound from the middle of the sound file. For example, you have a recorded speech. You want to be able to pause and resume that speech. Right now you can't, and that's pretty embarrassing. We want to fix that kind of thing. And yeah, we want to make the code for dealing with all of these things also friendlier. Next slide, please. Then we also want to make it easier for developers. There's a few pain points that we really want to fix. Here in these screenshots, you're seeing what it looks like when you open the console. And all of this is noise. All of this is information from the engine that a content creator doesn't care about. This adds nothing to them. And it hides, whatever you want to log in plain sight. And also I've seen a lot of cases where, yeah, poor novice creators get sent down rabbit holes trying to debug something that was never really a problem in their scene. We also want to have better error messages so that when there is something that is broken, it's a lot clearer that the error also points you to where you have to go to fix it. And for example, we have a lot of nice example scenes, and it's a great use case to start creating a scene based on one of these examples. But the process of doing that could be easier. We want to make it a lot smoother to create a scene from an example. And likewise, the process of creating a library is also pretty hacky right now. We want to make it easy to create libraries because libraries add a lot. The more libraries people share with others, that just empowers everyone. Next slide, please. Then we also want to have categories in worlds. So earlier I showed how we can now easily add metadata to any scene. And if you go to the places page, you can easily filter through different categories. But if you go to worlds in the places page right now, you don't have the ability to filter through those categories. So we basically want to keep the same categories you have in Genesis City, also for worlds, and make it easier to find these. Next slide, please. Then also we want to also in line with making it easier for paying with things without necessarily needing to own mana, we are able to pay for the submission fees for wearables and emotes using Fiat. So any creator who's maybe new to the platform and doesn't have mana, or maybe doesn't even have a wallet set up yet, can leverage this to easily upload their creations. And by the way, as stated in the chat before, this doesn't mean that we're taking utility away from mana. It's just a shortcut, but mana is being used in the background. Next slide, please. Also, we want to make the end goal of this is a community request where we wanted to make it so that full body wearables, skin wearables, have a higher upper limit. So right now, the upper limit of skin wearables is 2 megabytes, which is pretty little considering that you have to make a mesh that covers the whole body of the player, which is more demanding than just making shoes, for example. So we want to raise this limit to 8 megabytes. But in order to do this, we realized that we had to do an optimization that was really getting in the way of making that possible. And that is that whenever you wear a wearable that hides other wearables, we're still downloading all of the other wearables that are hidden. And maybe this is not a big deal for your player, but if you have 100 players in the scene and all of them are downloading extra data that doesn't really get displayed, this is something that doesn't really help performance. So if we do this optimization, besides the optimization itself, which is not a bad thing to have, we will also be able to have skins take up more space because now we know that they are not sharing that player space with other wearables. So next slide, please. And I think this is the final one I have. So whenever you upload a wearable to as a collection, you have this screen where you can preview different emotes with the wearable and make sure that it behaves well, that it looks good, that there aren't any weird clipping or overlappings that shouldn't be there. Now, one thing that we were missing in this screen is being able to also do the walking, running, and jumping animations, which were like right now you can wave, but you don't know if the player is going to look good when they're walking. Or like right now, the only way to do that is to jump into a preview with wearables, which is possible, but yeah, it's more work than just running it here on the screen. So this was asked for the community, and yeah, we thought it was a great idea.
So continue with the things that we're going to tackle next in terms of onboarding. Currently, I don't know if you experienced this, but it's not a great experience if you're not connected to Ethereum network and sometimes Polygon as well. You get this message that you are connected to a wrong network. So many users that are working in other chains as well, like Binance, Optimism, etc. They find this and they can't even navigate any of our sites while connected to those. So we need to switch back in their wallets. So we're going to introduce a new feature so anyone can be logged into our dApps. This is going to be first for the dApps. This is not including the Explorer just yet. But people will be able to connect to navigate and operate while connected to other EVM compatible chains. This is pretty broad because it's for all EVM compatible chains. But of course, not all of the blockchains out there are EVM compatible. But this is pretty good as well. And it really connects the circle because with all the other features that we're introducing in order to be able to pay with tokens from other chains, you will be also currently that's available for Ethereum and Polygon. This really opens up the whole possibilities because you're going to be able to be connected with our blockchains and also paying with tokens from those blockchains as well. So the experience is going to be really interoperable across EVM compatible blockchains. Well, of course, we keep going to this path. We are also introducing this feature for names and lands. Currently, this is only available in Polygon and Ethereum for wearables and emotes. So after cycle 5, it's going to be possible to buy with mostly any token from any chain. And yeah, if I'm not mistaken, all of the assets that we have around in the marketplace. So yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing for scalability for this. Something else that we're going to do that came from a community request, it's amplifying the blocking feature. Currently, you can already block a player, but that only blocks the friend request and also blocks the chats messages from that user. But you can still see the user, and we've seen cases of physical harassment inside the platform. So after this, once you block a player, you also will be blocking their avatar. So you are not going to be able to see that avatar again until you unblock them. So yeah, we're trying to make this a lot safer. Also, we will continue adding notifications. On the past cycle, we shared that we introduced the first version of the notifications together with the DAO. They were separated. So after this initiative, we're going to have the same notification center, and you are going to receive in the same place all the notifications from the DAO and from the marketplace as well. And we will be introducing notifications for events. So if an event is coming, an event that you subscribe is about to start, you're going to get a notification, and yeah, just take it in the notification center for now. And that's it from the product team. Thank you, Nico, as well from the presentation. So Fatih, let's go to, I think we can move it on to the last section.
And Nico, while you're getting that, the first question set up, I just wanted to add, if for the creator landing page, I know Nico mentioned this, the forms will be there. But if you want to be featured as a creator and share a quote for why you decided to be a Decentraland creator, what you like as being a Decentraland creator, you can also email me at marketing@decentraland.org. We are looking for a few community quotes to add to the landing page as it goes live. So if you have something you'd like to add, feel free to share it at marketing@.
Wonderful. Did you want me to? Oh, sorry, Nico.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just wasn't sure if I was the one. Do you want me to share the screen for the questions, or how did you guys want to do it? Oh, you have it.
I can do it. I have it right here.
Okay, wonderful. Do you want me to read through them, or do you want to? Or I wasn't sure because Gino, I think, was going to be here to do that, but I don't see him in the.
He's not around. All right.
Yeah, I don't see him. I can read through them if you like.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so first question from Job. Will you create a live video streaming solution for Decentraland, Genesis City that is easy to use as Hyperfy, YouTube, and X, or Twitter? I can't say X.
Thank you, Nat. I can take this. Yeah, we have been thinking on providing a solution, a streaming solution that is easy to use and also compatible with other platforms as well. The underlying technology we are using for the communication network, real-time communication, it's Lightkit, and they have support for this. We have a prototype on the Worlds part, in which you can use Decentraland Cast. That's an application that you can live stream in the world. For Genesis City, we have a challenge there that we are tackling now, and we want to have this fixed in the new Explorer and the current web version as well. It will take some time because we need to redefine the permissions on how you share content inside your LAN in Genesis City, but also how, as a creator, how can you moderate the participants there? It's not only allowing some people to share streaming, it's also about being able to mute someone, keep them off of the scene as well. So that's planned for this year.
Okay. Given the growth of metaverses all over the place, competitors offer a big variety of features Decel is missing out on. What's the master plan to keep up?
That's a good one. I think that's a reality that in the market we can see many alternative metaverses, different takes. I do believe that Decentraland stands unique still in the value proposition of having an open shared world. When you compare other alternatives, what you see only is isolated experiences created by different creators, but there is no way that you can walk through and traverse a world that is created by different people. And by taking that design choice, they really wipe the possibility of expanding into an open world. So I think that that's a unique value proposition of Decentraland in that sense. And we want to continue making Decentraland Genesis City an important place in Decentraland, and the new desktop client that we're working is investing in that front. On the other side, I know that we have so many things to do. I think that we have the right process set up with a strategy and cycles to develop. And if we all together are aligning, detecting what is missing out, and making sure it gets into the list of priorities, we can tackle all of those missing features with the time. Yep.
Just to add on top of that, you can also use scanning. As I was mentioning before, we're going to review them every cycle. So if there's a particular feature that you want to see in the Decentraland, you can use scanning and we'll check it out.
Okay, is there a plan about Decentraland Games closing Classic Ice Poker and how this might affect the daily active users? Most scenes with DAU that will be left are heavily botted.
I don't have a particular comment regarding the decisions that individual creators may take inside Decentraland. And I don't really fall into the details of their plan. I think like if the poker casino is closing Decentraland, that's also open up the possibility of other people to take that market if it's still unfulfilled. I think it's up to the creators to decide how to serve that audience that now is unfulfilled.
Next question, can we use the DAO to vote for features? Not Candy, where everyone with a Google account can vote, not with Mono or LAN, which doesn't fully represent the DAO.
That's a really interesting question. I think I remember initial conversations with the governance team that managed the development of the governance platform, and we discussed about having product features as a kind of proposal to vote on. As a test, and in order to invest the minimum effort possible to check if this makes sense, they suggest to start using Canary. That is a platform that already has all the features, instead of investing in the development of the kind of the same features. I agree it's not the same. However, I think there is also a point in being able to rank the feature request by individual votes. And I think that in that sense, maybe Canary is better because it's not subject to the weight of the voting power. But I'm really open to discuss with the governance team if they want to reveal this or get a better integration about the voting in Canary. I think that's on the DAO side and the implementation of the governance platform to do this. For now, I think Canary is the official place for us.
Can the official X Twitter start amplifying more content created by users? At this point, the users are doing more promotion for the platform than DCL is.
I can take this one if you want, Yamal. Yes, we can, and we will. We recently set up the channel in the DAO Discord where if you have great content, you can post it there. I check it every other day, basically, to make sure we are capturing anything that the community has created and would like amplified. Another way, I posted guidelines there so you can see what we use as criteria. Some of them include making sure you tag us so that we do see it, making sure it's not too promotional in terms of like contests and giveaways, because we try not to do too many of those from our account just because we're not hosting the contest itself. And we get a lot of requests for those. Making sure it's evergreen if possible. So if you're creating, for example, a thread on the best places to play games in Decentraland, like that's a great evergreen post that we can fit into our schedule that isn't date specific. If you do have a date specific content like an event coming up, just make sure to give us 3 days warning so that we have time to fit it into the content calendar based on other topics that are coming up. But we are definitely going to be doing more of this. I'll be having more oversight on it. Sinful, do you want to add another question to that?
Yeah, just to add on to that question, you had mentioned for events, do you have like any criteria for reoccurring events, like something that happens every week?
For reoccurring events, definitely happy to do it. So as long as we know the day, time, and event page or whatever, wherever you want us to drive people, occasionally we'll have gaps in our content calendar and I'll go through and be like, okay, what's happening this week that we haven't promoted in a while? So as long as it's on our radar, that is helpful.
Thank you, Kim.
Yep, no problem.
Is building a VR client still a priority for DCL?
This is a nice question. I believe Decentraland has a bright future in VR, which is a small niche, but has nowadays a decent user base that plays regularly. We have two approaches to the VR client at the moment. We do have a VR build that is ready or soon to be published with a very limited scope. It's called Decentraland Rooms. And nowadays I can share you the build and you can load it with SideQuest. Next step with that is try to publish at least on a MetaQuest store and Steam. What you can do there is you can log in with your wallet and you see your avatar in the VR client. You can also jump in as a guest with I think 2 avatar options. Then you land in a lobby in which you have many portals, 4 portals, and those direct you to 4 different rooms. Those rooms are public. You can see other people in the public room. They have a capacity of 10 people per room. Also, you can create private rooms and navigate with your friends to those private rooms by creating a portal and all jumping into the portal, or just by sharing a room code number. So the goal is to be able to have meetings in this VR scenario. What is left of this is the capability of rendering content using the SDK 7. So all the 4 rooms that you can see are static in the sense like creators cannot create these kind of rooms. They are fixed for now. And the goal of this is twofold. On one side, this is an experience that we are testing when we attend to a conference. We use it in Meta Amsterdam. Now we are going to GDC, so we will have that build for people to test. And the second part is to navigate the publishing process with these markets, the Meta Quest market and also the Steam. So there are some unknowns during that publishing process that we want to go through it as soon as possible. And so that's the short-term strategy for VR. So pretty soon you will be able to see your friends in VR if you own a headset with your avatar and your wearables. The long-term strategy for VR is that the new desktop client that we are developing have mobile and VR in mind, since we are targeting a native platform and also taking care that the different the algorithms that we use to load the world around you can be optimized for low spec machines such as a mobile phone or a VR headset. So I cannot promise a fully fledged VR client this year, but should be pretty prepared for that.
So, do other platforms such as Roblox have innovation awards to show recognition to creators pushing the platform forward? Will DCL have annual dev awards eventually?
Oh, that's a nice one. We do open calls to build things on events. Having like an annual dev awards sounds like a good idea. Happy if the DAO wants to collaborate in the rewards and how to elect the winners. I think that this could be a shared initiative.
In 2024 plan, I see rewards for playing would be an important part for attracting people. The question is how to make these rewards valuable that people want to get.
Yeah, that's a good question. We really, at least this is my opinion, I believe that we need to provide to the users like a bigger overarching narrative of Decentraland and that lay out the narrative and why, what's your role in this universe, what are the forces that move the universe, and also engage you with like activities to do right away. So like if you are a user that has from a gaming background or are you joining Decentraland in like an entertainment mood, you need to have like a kind of reward and sense of progress. How to implement these core mechanics that also are well aligned with a user-generated world and how other creators can hatch into these core mechanics and how we can reward users. That's something to be defined. And I think we have some ideas, but we don't have a plan right now that I can share. But we can give like soft points that eventually could be converted into wearables that the user can use to improve their own identity, or if they want it, they can sell it on the marketplace. That could be an option. Also, we can reward wearables directly without giving the points in between. We can provide some badges that generate social status. So I think we will expand on this question and what's our plan later this year.
Wonderful. I saw somebody had their hand raised. I think it was Meta Live. I don't know if you still had something to add to this, or if not, I'll just move on. Okay, well, how do you plan on getting more people on Decentraland?
Do you want me to take this, Yamel, or you want to?
Go for it.
Sure. So there are a few different ways we can get more people onto Decentraland. As Yamel mentioned, user acquisition will likely be a primary focus once the new client is live in the second half of this year. The few ways we can do this is obviously through partnerships, which we've done that introduce Decentraland to new groups and their audiences. The second being traditional advertising. So we did test this out as part of our research phase with Music Fest. We tested it on Facebook as well as Twitter and Instagram. So we can continue to do that as well. And then the third area to explore is influencers. So all three of those are different categories we're looking at. We're building those strategies in the first half of the year to start executing some of them in the second half of the year. So 3 different buckets, and within each bucket, we'll have different targets. So creators, now that we have the creator landing page was one of those first steps. We needed a place to send potential creators. And then also updating FAQs, all of that so that we're ready as new users come. So as you've seen, the product team has done a lot of work on onboarding and making it as seamless and less jargon around crypto and Web3 and wallets and making it really easy. So step 1 was getting it easy on the platform side. And then step 2 is getting all the information updated. And step 3 is getting the people in to see all of that amazing work. And Sinful, yes, YouTube ads is definitely one of the ones we're considering.
Why are there no pop-up indications that big events are happening? Event page tab seems a lame excuse, given that a new user has no clue where to go look.
I can take this one. I totally agree that the events page needs to be rethought, at least on what's the criteria on sorting and highlighting the events. I agree that there are too many things there at the moment, and it's hard to identify where the people are. So yeah, I can agree, and I think there are some canny feature requests regarding events page. There is one about adding a calendar. There is another one about just improving the sorting and how we display the events. So I encourage you to go and add into those feature requests your comments so we can process that into the next cycle. I think another strategy beyond the events page and the events that you can see on the Explorer itself when you go to Explore tab. Something that we did for like music festival or fashion week or art week, like the big events I think last year, was to create like a portable experience that has a banner indicating that there is a big event happening right now. So I think we can bring the idea back, and if there is a big event happening at this time, all users should at least have a pop-up message indicating them to jump into the parcel. Yeah, for these kind of things, again, we really encourage you to help us organize the feature requests in one platform so we can like streamline the process of putting enough time and skills and thought into making this an actionable plan that we can later on delegate to a team. Sorry that is kind of a bureaucracy thing, but for us, it's the way we can really ensure that there is a process and we can deliver on our promise.
Is there ever a plan to do an airdrop to the community of engaged builders and contributors?
We don't have a plan to do an airdrop at the moment, at least from the Decentraland Foundation. Again, I believe this is an opportunity maybe for the DAO to provide the rewards and also help in the definition of which members of the community should be airdropped. I remember seeing a proposal a few years ago about doing this and didn't get enough quorum. Maybe now is a better timing to do it. Meta, do you have any comments?
Hey, Yamel. This is Meta Doge, but also Meta Lab Studio. So I was the person who asked about the question how to make the rewards more valuable. Yeah, but it was a bit noisy here, so I started to ask now. So first of all, I think the foundation team is doing a great job for in terms of the technical part, the product part. We can keep seeing it is progressing. But on the other hand, I feel like the Decentraland right now is missing a quite important part of the whole incentive system design. Because I can give some example of your I believe it's your good friend Ari, who created Big Time, has very strong or well designed economic incentive structure to attract players, even though Big Time is not mature enough to to be compared with the Web2 games like World of Warcraft, but still with the enough incentives and token expectations, it is enough to attract people to to play Big Time. The same example happened in Nifty Island recently, along with their token airdrop wave one. So I'm just trying to think, but it's good to know that you're open for discussion about this part, and hopefully we can see more breakthrough or thoughts or ideas about how to use Web3 ways to incentivize people to create and play here. Because right now we can see increasing in attention, and this trend is feels like Decentraland has become a Web2 product, except for the DAO part, which I believe it's it's a pity because we're in Web3, and some of the very important Web3 tools like token and token expectation, tokenomic stuff has been totally ignored recently. So just want to know your thoughts on this. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Metadata. Yeah, I'm pretty aligned what you are saying, that we are missing that, call it, I like to call it like core mechanics, that those are the main drivers for engagement, and also like fix what's the expectation of the user on what they need to do next. Of course, I'm familiar with Big Time, and I know Ari, of course, and they do have a well-defined set of incentives for players to I think to grind, or to at least spend a lot of hours with a with the expectation of getting a reward, or in the best of the scenarios, it's just because it's fun to do it. I believe that a lot of gamers that are not very interested in crypto, they have like the main, I think a main concern for crypto outsiders is that when you add money into a game, you stop doing it because it's fun, and you do it because you have an economic incentive. So doing it, I think we need to be very careful, and I think it should be aligned as well with the narrative of what Decentraland is, and that you are a citizen, and there is many things to explore and people to socialize, and that you can have your own role in this virtual world, and how you grow there. So mechanics that incentivize exploration and participation, I think that would be great. And if there is a possibility that just by playing and engaging and participating, you receive some tokens that later on they can be sold on the marketplace, I think that has appeal, but the underlying mechanic should be fun to play, or at least be aligned, not just making money. I think that during the first years of development of Decentraland, Ari and Esteban, and later on leadership, have this very purist vision of Decentraland just being a platform for creators and don't engage on really the mechanics or the gameplay. And I think differently there. I do believe that we need this core design and incentives for players. At the moment, the feeling that you may get after you finish the 5-minute tutorial is like, go figure out what can you do in Decentraland, and I think we need to be more decisive or to guide the player on what are the mechanics and how to engage in Decentraland. So I'm really open to explore this, and I think it's a big part of what we need to do this year. So yeah, really open to have this conversation, Methodology. Thank you for bringing this topic.
Because if big time is more like a gamify, or it's like Web3 games, so it's not completely the same thing as Decentraland. But if you look at what Nifty Island did recently, they efficiently used the token expectation to encourage people to play and to build. So which is something I would recommend to to do some research on. But of course, big time Nifty Island, their new projects with a lot of tokens in their treasury, foundation in their team treasury. So which is a trouble for the foundation or for the DAO, because we don't have enough allocation to do massive airdrop. But I believe there will be some workaround with it. Hopefully we can discuss it together in the future on DAO page, or through some more internal discussion. Thank you.
Wonderful. And just to give everybody a heads up, we have time for probably another 1 or 2 questions before we wrap it up. And the questions that are not answered will be posted, and once those are posted, I will share it with everybody. So yeah, I'll get to the last 1 or 2 right now. So will I be able to transfer my legacy builder scenes to the editor? Will the IWB grant product be implemented officially in Decentraland, or some sort of fusion?
I can take this one. The legacy builder scenes, if you have them in the builder, you can automatically transform them into SDK7 scenes and use the new web editor. This transform, it migrates everything except from the smart items. So if you had smart items on the legacy builder, those were SDK6, and you transform it into the SDK7 scene to use with the new editor, it will be a static scene, and you can recreate the smart items using the new ones, which are more powerful, by the way. In terms of the in-world builder, it's something separate for now. So yeah, we are not doing anything to merge them right now. I don't know how that would work, but happy to deep dive into that through Canary to get more details.
Any other alpha you guys can share other than what you have already shared?
I can take that one. So we have this product development cycles document that I just shared the link on the chat. So on Monday, when the new cycle starts, we'll publish all the documents describing the initiatives that we'll be working on the next 8 weeks. So there are other initiatives we are working that we didn't showcase in this presentation. If you want more alpha, make sure that put a reminder on Monday to check that document, and then you can go through all the documents, included the ones about the new Explorer.
And this next one will be our last question, and then I'll start wrapping it up. So will February have a DCL birthday event planned, film, club contest?
Kim, do you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. We're still finalizing details for any of the smaller events that aren't like multi-day events for the year. I think the film club contest is always a great one. We love the content the community puts out. So we're just finalizing all of the details for when will that happen this year and how that will coincide with the birthday, but we will follow up with any official plans for these smaller events.
Okay, wonderful. And like I said earlier, all the questions that we didn't get to today will be answered, and whenever they're posted, I will share with the community. So I'll start closing it up right now. So thanks to everyone on the foundation side for your great presentations. So many exciting updates today. Thank you, Guillermo, for your 2024 manifesto overview. Lots of exciting new updates for 2024. Particularly excited for the new advanced desktop client and your efforts to help improve the barriers to entry for new users. Also, very much appreciate your commitment to support community events and helping support creators. Thank you, Kim, for your event update for the upcoming Art Week in Meshver. Excited that you guys will also have a booth at GDC. That's huge. I wish I could go. Also, great work on the investment program. Of course, very much looking forward to Community Summit, and also great work on the wellness event. That was really fun. So many great builds and awesome experiences. Thank you, Nico, for product updates on transparency, collaboration. Love the public Notion board with the shape-up initiatives and details. Also, great overview of your strategy pillars. And thank you, Nico Ersha, for your updates as well on the editor improvements, smart items, multiplayer capability, and the easy scene beta data and the player health is so cool. Creator landings page. Man, the list goes on and on. There's so many great updates. I would have to keep talking for like forever. So I'm going to wrap that up. But Foundation, as always, great work. And in case any of you guys in the community missed parts of this session or want to watch it again, I will paste here the link for the DCL All Hands playlist and all our, let me see, I'll just paste it here right now for everybody. It will be posted later today. Also, huge shout out to the community members for joining us today and for your great questions. And our next All Hands, like I was mentioning earlier, will be in 7 weeks. And if you have any questions in the meantime, again, there is chat, email, Canny, and here is that Twitter post once again if you want to dive into that, and has links to all those resources as well. So with that, thanks again everyone for joining us. We hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and until next time, ciao.
Thank you, everyone.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.